You are tuned to 1700. My name is Milo, and we are here in a deli with Maddie from the 1975.
Hello.
You are in Australia with the Big Day Art Tour, playing a couple of side shows around the place. Northcote Social Club last night. How'd that go?
It was wicked.
Yeah?
It was really good.
It's a beautiful, intimate venue.
Well, it is, and it was coming off the back of like it was the first show that we'd done apart from Big Day Out that was like our own headline show, and it was after 3 nights at Brixton Academy in the UK, which is kind of really
huge venue.
Yeah.
15,000 people, sort of thing.
That was So that's how many it was. So then to go to 300, it was really nice, and it reminded us of, I'm not to say that we kind of lost track of our identity as a band, but I think that the size of the shows became so overwhelming and so massive that it was just nice to be back kind of with your feet on the ground, just playing to loads of people.
So you guys do like going back to do the occasional intimate show?
Well, yeah, because that's where we come from, We've only been this popular in the past 6 months. A year ago, we couldn't fit that many people into a room in Manchester.
Yeah.
And now we can't put out a show without it selling out in a day. It's ridiculous.
Awesome. That must be a good feeling.
Amazing. Very flattering.
Yeah.
Very, it's humbling.
You've been gone under a few different names over the years. Is it nice to have the first album as the 1975 to go number one? Is that sort of like a bit of an affirmation that waiting to release it was probably the right idea?
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, we had a hard time when we were a band before, and we kind of had quite an easy ride as well. At the same time, it was only a kind of year period where we were getting refused by labels and stuff that started to get a bit difficult. But it is. I mean, I think we are testament to the fact that if you make music that is a genuine form of creative expression, and it's something that has enough depth and enough wealth of ideas for people to really emotionally invest in it, then it will translate. I think. And when Chocolate was in like the top 20 in the UK, even at that time we weren't signed to a major label.
Oh, right.
We just done everything just ourselves.
It's cool that you can get to that point without a label
you
behind you.
Well, you need support. We had a manager who's been with us for 7 years.
Sure.
Who's been with us when every label told us that we didn't know who we were and we were insane and this kind of thing. And he just stuck with us, and then he set up his own label to put our record out.
Brilliant.
And
that's a nice feeling, having a market made for you almost. Just
that
because,
was kind of it. Yeah.
Somebody's really seen the potential in it.
Exactly.
Is it a fun album to tour?
Yeah, very much so.
There's a lot of sort of variety. You've got some beautiful interludes in there, actually. Mainly electronica-based, I've noticed. And I like the idea of sort of splitting up an album, giving you sort of like a minute rest in between sort of complex hooks and stuff.
Yeah.
The electronica side of things, where does that come from with the band?
Our love for music is so all-encompassing and so unrestricted in regards to the way, my quote of the year is that we create in the same way that we consume, and I think that's a generational thing. We're very much a generational band and consistent with the ideas of that creating music in the same way that you consume it, and being a victim of this kind of non-linear consumption of media. And I think that the electronic element of our band is just as relevant as the guitars are. It's just as relevant as anything. I think our love for R&B and house music and everything comes out in that album. And the interludes thing comes from a place that our music's quite cinematic. That was kind of the idea. We wanted the album to be like the soundtrack to a John Hughes film.
I get that. That's cool.
So I think that those transitions within the record are almost scene changes,
Well, going on from that sort of electronic sort of side of things, I recently listened to the James and Vincent McMorrow remix.
Oh, right.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Completely unexpected from you guys. Any plans to sort of write any music as the 1975s in the future, sort of in that style?
Well, I think that style is incorporated quite heavily in the EPs. It got a bit difficult for us because we kind of became two bands at one point. We kind of became this very kind of R&B inspired, bedroom sounding, almost washed out band.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson on Bad. That was like the two polarizing elements of our sound. So as the EPs went on, we started to get to more the 80s sound, and that's when we got more popular. So we're a lot more defined by that. But if you actually listen to the records with no preconception, with no idea of who we are,
sure,
there is a lot of that. And I think the next record is, I think, R&B, true R&B, from gospel to Boys to Men. That sound on this album that we're writing now is kind of what 80s pop was to the 1975.
Let's come back to the current album. Girls is the big song, sort of from the album at the moment. Awesome video clip as well.
Thank you.
I want to say sort of that sort of retro-esque, sweet guitar hook, very in excess, in
thank
my
you.
opinion. Is that what you were going
First
for?
person who said it.
Yes.
First person who said it. It
All
is
right.
exactly the point of it. The duality. Da da da.
Yeah.
Da la 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 la. The left and the right. Da 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 da.
Well, yeah.
He knows what I mean.
It's sort of like the first song that you guys have put out that I've sort of properly seen as sort of a total pop,
Oh yeah.
awesome, just coherent song that totally has that sweet pop structure that
Exactly.
really could get you out to a crazy wide audience.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely love it. I did notice with a lot of the video clips though, you've got sort of that rectangle thing going on. Is that anything sort of significant, or is it
Yeah,
sort of just
massively so.
Can you tell me a bit about the rectangle?
The rectangle. There's so much discussion of what it means now. Everybody's got their own thing.
What does it mean to you?
Is it the four sides representing the four of us? Is it this and that? What it really is the fact that the initial stages of the way that the band came out is that I made really good friends with a guy who ran a clothing company called 40 Ounce, and we became obsessed with a couple of records. We became obsessed with A$AP Rocky, and it was at the term when The Weeknd had just come out, and we were very into what was going on. And what we wanted was the marketing of the band, not the marketing, but the way the band had an image, is that we loved Chanel. We loved the sleek, classic element to Chanel number 5, and we realized that box hadn't been
It's a simple
utilized
logo.
very much. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And so twinned with our knowledge of the music and the lyrics being very conversational and very situational, we loved the idea of just having a frame to frame our identity, to frame a situation, to frame. And then we started doing things like, when we were on tour last, we got a frame made that we have live with us that stays on stage, and it lights up. And we just took that and took it to New York City and left it, and you know, like, let people interact with it and took photos. And I think it's about the imposition of our identity on whatever situation. I think that's kind of where it comes from, and now it's just taken on a thing.
That's
There's people
great.
who've got throat tattoos of it and
Wow.
stuff like that. It's pretty
That's
awesome.
nuts.
I know.
Yeah, having tattoos after you must feel pretty
There's
cool.
loads of them.
There's loads of them.
The most
Wow.
common one is girls come over and ask me to write something, and then they get my handwriting.
The
It's
handwriting.
pretty crazy.
There's a bunch of girls out there at the moment waiting to get
know.
a glimpse of you guys.
Bless them.
Anybody playing on the festival that you sort of been really itching to bump into?
It was Snoop and his band, and then we did.
I reckon everybody's answer is Snoop thus far. He's
Yeah,
got that,
we
got that
bumped
thing
into
about
them. We walked on stage with him in Auckland.
Yes.
Which was pretty cool. And all the security moved out the way. They were like, yeah, watch out for Snoop Dogg's crew. And we were there at the back. It was funny.
What do you do to sort of keep yourselves sort of fresh and ready to go?
Oh, God. I mean, what more do you need? You know,
Yeah.
like, our job is
Yeah.
playing music that we love to people that love us in countries that most of the time are better than the country that we're from. We get loads of free booze, loads of free whatever we ask for. Loads of
Yeah.
girls fancy us, and I'm in Australia. So I don't
Yeah.
need anything else. I'm fine.
Anything else?
I don't need anything to get me excited about having the best job in the world.
You guys are sort of living in the moment, you
Yeah,
could
fuck,
say.
it's whatever, man. It's just like, I don't want to, you know, you get, I have my own problems, like personal problems. Like I have my own, I have a lot of them. But when it comes to like, God, like moaning about the practical elements of what
Yeah.
we're doing, God, if I ever heard that, it's just, get over yourself.
There's a great website called DJs Complaining, and it's basically tweets of famous DJs complaining about having to go to the airport at 9 a.m. in the morning.
exactly.
I think
I
that a
know,
lot when
what
I
a
hear about
nightmare.
musicians complaining about how
I know.
hard their lives are.
I know, it's amazing. People complaining about that. People complaining about flying as well. That's a normal one, a common thing. Yeah, God, get over it. You're flying. You're in the air. You're sat
I
in
know.
a chair in the sky.
Oh man, I had to fly 48 hours to get to the other side of the world, and it only took 48 hours.
Yeah, I know.
What a shame.
To be honest with you, I was complaining about that so much on the way over here.
There's nothing else to do but complain on an aeroplane, but as soon as you get
I
off.
do not like it.
be
But
thankful
once
for
you
it.
get there,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting
Thank
to me. The album's out on iTunes at the moment, self-titled of the 1975. Best of luck for 2014.
Thank you so
for
much,
chatting
thank
to
you.
me. You are on 1700.